7 goals, 1 World Cup. His debut World Cup. More goals in his debut tournament than Messi, Mbappe, and Ronaldo had combined in theirs. Let that sentence sit with you for a moment. Messi scored 1 goal at his first World Cup. Mbappe scored 4. Ronaldo scored 1. Combined, that is 6. Erling Haaland has 7 in his first World Cup. At 25 years old, already tied with Messi and Mbappe at the top of the Golden Boot race. Already the most clinical striker this tournament has ever seen since Gary Lineker in 1986. And the question that nobody wants to ask out loud because it feels too dangerous, too controversial, too soon, is being asked anyway. Is Erling Haaland already better than Mbappe, better than Yamal? And is the debate about whether he belongs in the same conversation as Messi and Ronaldo already happening too late? Because the conversation has already been settled on this pitch in America. Welcome back to Robert's Football Talk. I am your host, and today we are going where nobody else in football media is willing to go. Full Haaland breakdown. The numbers that are breaking the internet. The Mbappe comparison that Mbappe fans do not want to have. The Yamal debate. And the most controversial question in football right now. Is Erling Haaland building a legacy that will one day sit alongside Messi and Ronaldo? If you are not subscribed to Robert's Football Talk yet, subscribe right now before we go any further. Because this breakdown is the one every football fan needs to see, and I do not want you to miss a single word of what comes next. Subscribe, hit the bell, let us go. Part 1. The numbers that are breaking the internet. Let me give you the statistics first, because the statistics are doing something that statistics rarely do at a World Cup. They are telling a story that feels impossible. Site index equals 9-1. Haaland now has 7 goals in this World Cup, tying Kylian Mbappé and Lionel Messi for most in the tournament. This is the first time in World Cup history that 3 different players have scored 7 or more goals in a single edition of the tournament, and we are only in the round of 16. Read that again. 3 players with 7 or more goals each in one World Cup. That has never happened before. Not in 1970 with Pelé, not in 1986 with Maradona, not in 2018 with Mbappe, not in 2022 with Messi. Never. In the entire history of this competition. And Haaland is one of those 3. In his debut tournament. Site index equals 9-1. Haaland's 7 goals in the 2026 World Cup are the most by a player in his debut World Cup since Poland's Grzegorz Lato in 1974. In fact, he now has more goals in his debut World Cup tournament than Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappe, and Cristiano Ronaldo had combined in their debut tournaments. More than the 3 greatest players of the modern era combined in his first World Cup at 25 years old. But wait. It gets worse for everyone trying to argue Haaland is just a good finisher getting lucky chances. Kite. Index equals 9-1. Haaland has scored 7 goals from just 18 shots at the 2026 World Cup, a 39% conversion rate. That is the best conversion rate for any player with 15 or more shots in a single World Cup since Gary Lineker in 1986. Site 39% conversion rate from 18 shots. That means when Haaland shoots, the ball goes in nearly 4 times out of 10 at a World Cup against the best defenses on the planet, against professional goalkeepers who have prepared specifically for him. Quite index equals 9-1. Haaland is averaging a goal every 14 touches this tournament. That is the fewest of any player who over the last 60 years has scored 3 or more goals in a single edition of the World Cup. 1 goal every 14 touches. He barely needs to be involved in a match to score. He does not need 50 touches and 10 dribbles and 6 key passes. He needs 14 touches, and then the ball is in the net. If you are not already subscribed to Robert's Football Talk, what are you waiting for? Subscribe right now. This channel covers these stories better than anywhere else, and we are just getting started. Part 2. The Mbappe comparison. The debate Mbappe fans are losing. Let me be honest about something before we compare these 2 players. Kylian Mbappe is extraordinary. He is a World Cup winner. He has 12 World Cup goals across multiple tournaments. Site index equals 10-1. His 12 goals in 14 World Cup matches puts him in elite tournament finishing company. Pelé, Klose, Müller. He is the captain of France. He is having an incredible tournament right now with 7 goals of his own. But here is the Haaland versus Mbappe debate that needs to happen honestly. Mbappe at his first World Cup in 2018 scored 4 goals. Haaland at his first World Cup in 2026 has 7. Already, with potentially 3 more matches to play. Mbappe plays across the front 3. He takes penalties. He scores from both feet. He runs at defenders. He is the most complete attacker France have had since Thierry Henry. Everything Mbappe does is elite level. 10-1. Haaland is the pure number 9. He does not need 10 touches to wreck a match. 1 early cross, 1 loose ball, 1 penalty. The Norway system is designed to give him isolated 1-versus-1s against center backs. If the system works, Haaland scores. That last line is the argument Mbappe fans always use against Haaland. He only scores because Norway builds entirely around him. He is a system player. Remove him from that system and you see his limitations. And here is the counter-argument that changes everything. Who cares? If the system produces 7 goals in a World Cup at a 39% conversion rate, then the system works. Harry Kane is also a system player at England. Pelé played in a system built around him at Brazil. Every great number 9 in history has had a system designed to give them the ball in dangerous positions. That is not a weakness. That is football intelligence from both the player and the coaching staff. But I want to be fair to Mbappe too. Mbappe's 7 goals this tournament have come against much tougher opposition on average because France have faced better teams in better matches. Mbappe has scored against Senegal, Iraq, Norway's second team, and now Paraguay. Haaland has scored against Ivory Coast, Senegal, a weakened Norway side, and Brazil. Wait, Brazil. Haaland scored twice against Brazil. The 5-time world champions. Carlo Ancelotti's Brazil. Vinicius Jr.'s Brazil. And Haaland knocked them out. That is not a soft touch. That is one of the greatest individual performances at this World Cup. And Jamie Carragher? He came out and said it this week. Site index equals 13-1. Erling Haaland will go down as football's greatest goal scorer. The greatest, ever. Not the greatest Norwegian. Not the greatest of his generation. The greatest goal scorer football has ever produced. Carragher is not someone who makes hyperbolic statements easily. He is one of the most respected analysts in the game. And he looked at Haaland's numbers, his career trajectory, his World Cup performance, and said greatest ever. Subscribe to Robert's Football Talk right now and share this video because we are about to get into the Yamal comparison and this is where the debate gets really interesting. Part 3. Haaland versus Yamal. 2 different planets. Here is the thing about comparing Haaland and Yamal that most people get wrong. They are not the same type of player. They are not even trying to do the same thing on a football pitch. Comparing them directly is like comparing a sniper to a magician. Both extraordinary, completely different skills. Coot index equals 10-1 while Yamal is the chance-creating winger. Inverted on the right, cutting in on his left, threading through balls into half spaces, taking direct free kicks from 20 to 30 yards. His 2025-26 club assist total of 21 is the headline. He creates more than he scores. In a tournament with strong defensive teams, the player who unlocks deep blocks matters as much as the pure finisher. That is Yamal's role. Yamal at 18 years old is doing things that players 10 years older cannot do. He is the most technically gifted teenager since Messi at Barcelona. He has assists, creativity, direct dribbling, set-piece delivery. Against Portugal, he was the best player on the pitch. Against Germany in qualifying, he was outrageous. Against Saudi Arabia, he scored his first World Cup goal at 18 years old. But here is the Haaland versus Yamal debate in its most honest form. Yamal creates, Haaland finishes. Both are essential. But at a World Cup where goals decide matches and careers, the finisher gets the attention. The creator gets the assist chart. Yamal has 5 assists at this tournament. Haaland has 7 goals. When this World Cup is analyzed in 10 years, Yamal will be remembered as the most creative player of 2026. Haaland will be remembered as the player who scored 7 goals in his debut tournament and made everyone ask whether they had ever seen anything like it. Who is better right now? Incomparable. Different roles. different systems, different countries at different stages of their World Cup campaigns. But who is making the football world ask bigger questions? Haaland. Because 7 goals is a number that stops conversations. 5 assists is a number that earns respect. And in the currency of football debate, goals always stop conversations first. If you have not subscribed to Robert's Football Talk yet, do it right now. This is the channel that gives you these breakdowns. This is the channel that goes deeper than the headlines. Subscribe, share this video, tell every football fan you know about this breakdown, because this debate is happening everywhere, and we are having it better than anyone. Part 4, the most dangerous question. Is Haaland building a Messi and Ronaldo level legacy? Now we get to the part of this video that is going to make half of you angry and the other half nod along. And both reactions are exactly what great football debates should produce. Is Erling Haaland building a career that will one day sit alongside Messi and Ronaldo in the conversation about the greatest players of all time? The case against it. Messi won 8 Ballon d'Ors. He won the World Cup. He won 4 Champions Leagues. He rewrote every creative record in football history. Ronaldo won 5 Ballon d'Ors, 5 Champions Leagues, scored 900 career goals, 146 international goals. Both of them defined entire eras of the sport across 2 decades. Haaland has not yet won a World Cup. He has not yet won a Champions League as the main man. He is 25 years old, and his story is at its beginning, not its middle. The case for it, Haaland has scored more goals in his debut World Cup than Messi, Mbappe, and Ronaldo combined in theirs. He won the Premier League 4 times with Manchester City. He won the Champions League in 2023. He has scored more goals in fewer seasons than any striker in Premier League history. He is already the most efficient finisher the World Cup has ever seen at his age. Carragher called him the greatest goal scorer football will ever produce. He is 25. He has potentially 10 to 12 more years at the top of the game. Site, index equals 9-1, Haaland's 7 World Cup goals outscores Messi, Mbappe, and Ronaldo combined in their debut World Cup tournaments. Site, the honest answer is this. Haaland cannot be compared to Messi and Ronaldo yet, because comparison requires completed careers. Messi and Ronaldo gave the world 20 years each of sustained excellence. Haaland is at year 7 of his senior career. He has 18 more years of career ahead of him if he stays healthy. But here is the fabricated scenario that this video is really asking. If Haaland wins the Golden Boot at this World Cup with 10 or more goals, if Norway somehow reach the final or the semi-final, if Haaland wins the Champions League next season, if he scores 40 goals every season for the next 5 years, if he accumulates 150 international goals by the time he is 35, what does that career look like? It looks like the greatest goal-scoring career in the history of football. It looks like a player who makes Ronaldo's 900 career goals seem like the record before the record. It looks like a legacy that forces football to invent new language to describe it. That is the scenario. That is what is possible. And at this World Cup in America, the first chapter of that story is being written 7 goals at a time. Subscribe to Robert's Football Talk and hit the bell right now. We post every single week, and if this video gave you something, the next one will give you more. Subscribe, share, let this channel grow so we can keep bringing you breakdowns like this one. Part 5, the jersey with his mother's name, the human behind the machine. Before we close, I want to say something about the part of this story that the numbers do not capture. Index equals 11-1, Haaland has Braut on the back of his Norway jersey. He pays tribute to his mother every time he plays for Norway. Braut is his mother's surname. Marita Braut was herself an elite athlete, a heptathlete who competed at the 1994 World Championships. She gave her name to the child who is now rewriting World Cup history for Norway. And every time Haaland pulls on that jersey with her name on the back and scores a goal for his country, he turns around and runs with his arms out, and that name is there on every camera that follows him. That is not the robot goal-scoring machine that Haaland is sometimes portrayed as. That is a son who loves his mother. A young man who understands where he came from. A player who carries something personal onto the pitch every single time he plays for Norway. Site index equals 14-1. Haaland said Norway's World Cup chances are really low, despite scoring 7 goals and leading his country to a quarterfinal matchup against England. Site. Index equals 15-1. He called Norway's World Cup chances really low, despite scoring 7 goals and leading his country to a quarterfinal. Really low, after 7 goals. After knocking out Brazil. After reaching the quarterfinals for the first time in Norway's history. He is already putting pressure on England, already managing the narrative, already thinking like a player who has been in these situations before, even though this is his first major tournament. That is not a player who is going to be overawed by England and Harry Kane on Saturday in Miami. That is a player who scores a goal every 14 touches and calls his own team's chances really low to make sure England underestimate nothing. Psychological genius. Or just honest humility from a 25-year-old kid from Brine who has his mum's name on his back. Either way, England have been warned. Part 6. The verdict. Where does Haaland stand right now? Let me give you the clear, honest verdict before we close. Better than Yamal right now at this tournament in terms of direct impact on results? Yes. 7 goals beats 5 assists in a World Cup knockout conversation. But Yamal is 18, and this comparison in 5 years will look very different. Better than Mbappe right now at this tournament? On numbers alone, yes. Same goals, better conversion rate, more efficient. But Mbappe has tournament pedigree, a World Cup winner's medal, and the ability to change matches in ways that do not always show up in goals and assists. It is as close as any comparison at this level gets. In the same conversation as Messi and Ronaldo level greatness? Not yet. But for the first time, at this World Cup, at 25 years old, the question is not ridiculous. The question is not premature. The question is exactly where it should be. Somewhere between possible and inevitable. Subscribe to Robert's Football Talk right now. Share this video. Leave a comment telling me where you stand. Is Haaland already better than Mbappe? Will he ever reach Messi and Ronaldo level? And can Norway actually beat England on Saturday and go to the semi-finals? Drop everything in the comments. I read every single one. And this debate is going to run all week. This has been Robert's Football Talk. Hit that like button hard. Share this video with every single football fan in your life. And if you are not subscribed yet, there has never been a better time. New videos every single week. This World Cup is delivering history every single day. Subscribe right now. You will not regret it. I will see you in the next one.